If you like Japanese role-playing games, then chances are that you like anime as well. So if you like JRPGs, then we think you want to go deep into them and find all their hidden secrets. That's why today we're going to show you some Easter eggs, references, and homages to classic and modern animes that you'll find in games. Make sure you keep watching until the end, where we'll show you how a game that transcends genres plays tribute to one of the most popular anime franchises out there. If this is your first time visiting The Gamer, then it would be great if you could hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all our new content. Without further ado, here are 5 anime secrets hidden in JRPGs. Number 1. Naruto in Dragon Ball Z. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about today are bits of culture that only people who are really deep into Japanese popular culture will understand. However, there are other things from Japan that have crossed over and ended up becoming famous around the world. One such example is the Dragon Ball franchise. In case you don't know what that is, well, we reckon you do, really. But anyway, it's loosely based on the ancient Chinese fable of the Journey to the West, and it concerns the tales of Goku and his band of companions. First, it was a manga, then it was an anime. In both formats, it crossed over and became popular across the world. Since the late 1990s, it has been kept alive through a series of video games, which have really seen its popularity hit a crazy new level. One of the many games that formed part of the franchise was Dragon Ball Z: Battle of Z. Fans of the series who pre-ordered the game had a special treat, however. They could download Goku as a Super Saiyan in Naruto's Sage Mode cloak, which was a pretty cool meeting of Dragon Ball and the classic Naruto anime. Number 2. Persona 4. In a modern-day anime series, it's pretty commonplace for things to happen within a high school environment. However, in a modern Japanese role-playing game, that doesn't happen anywhere near as often. Things are generally located in the typical video game fantasy or science fiction style world. But that's why we think the Persona series of video games have been so popular. Sure, there have been battles against evil demons from other dimensions, but there's also the hassle of getting through and surviving your teenage years. While every Persona game is different, and there's very little crossover between the games themselves, they all have a similar setting and a similar breakdown in how the game is structured. So, they've built themselves up a loyal fanbase. But back to how high school is a regular setting for modern anime. When you consider how closely related anime and JRPGs are, it makes sense for there to be some level of crossover. So it makes perfect sense that there was an anime version of the 4th Persona game. It was a pretty big deal. And the best thing about it was that the anime kept the story in line with the video game. Number 3. Final Fantasy and Xenogears. It's fair to say that the worlds of anime and Japanese role-playing games are largely intertwined. They share a similar artwork, similar aesthetic, and in a lot of cases, a similar audience. So there's a bit of a large area where the two pretty much meld into each other, and it can be hard to see which one is which. Here's a pretty interesting example for us to take a look at. Do you remember Xenogears? This was a game that was influenced by great modern philosophers and ended up being an anime series. However, when it was first proposed, it was going to be an installment of the iconic Final Fantasy video game series. In the end, it ended up being its own thing, which was probably for the better. But it did end up being in a Final Fantasy game. Well, sort of. In Final Fantasy VII, the main character, Cloud, is discombobulated at one stage. You end up hearing him saying something that makes no sense. It seems to have bits of it missing. But when you fill in the blanks, it's the Xenogears theme tune, which is, if you don't know it, pretty amazing. Number 4. Naruto and Rogue Legacy. One of the many great and interesting parts of the big world of video games is the place where different elements merge into one thing and cross over with each other. One of the best examples that we can think of in recent years is the game Rogue Legacy. It's part platformer, part shoot 'em up, and part Japanese role-playing game. It's a smart, clever, and knowing sort of game that we think is well worth every bit of your time. Anyway, what's so good about being something which blurs the boundaries between genres is that you can go in whichever direction you feel like. And that means that you can pay tribute to whatever it is that inspires you. Now, it seems pretty clear that the makers of Rogue Legacy were inspired by the classic Naruto anime series. Don't believe us? Well, check this out. In Rogue Legacy, take a good look at the character classes. You see that there's one called Shinobi Hokage, and that the class has a 4-head protector, just like in Naruto. The class also has a special body replacement technique, again, just like in Naruto. That makes it a pretty cool tribute to one of the most iconic anime series. Number 5. Ninokuni and Spirited Away. Within the world of gaming, there are some games which have become world-conquering classics, and there are others which have ended up being cult games, known, played, and loved by a select few experts. And then there are games which manage to become both at the same time. Perhaps the best example we can think of is Ninokuni, which was released for the Nintendo DS and the PlayStation 3 in 2010. This is a game that features a gutsy young hero who's carried off to a wonderfully designed fantasy world. You could say that the game's hero, Oliver, was spirited away. That's more than just a coincidence because the animated cutscenes in Ninokuni bear a startling resemblance to parts of Spirited Away, and there's very good reason for that. Within the world of anime, there are certain studios and brands who have become seen as a mark of quality. One great example is Studio Ghibli, who gave the world classics like Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, and, you guessed it, Spirited Away. Studio Ghibli were involved with making the animations Ninokuni, and that's why they feel a lot like something from Spirited Away. We're teachers here at The Gamer, really. So that's all of our anime secrets and references. We hope you enjoyed it. Are there any more anime references you've spotted in JRPGs? What's your favorite crossover between Japanese role-playing games and anime? Let us know in the comments section below. While you're here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to The Gamer. Thanks for watching.